You're a model of flawless design. I can't help but feel butterflies every time you are by. You make me wanna throw away my storyline and make a new one with you. I could be a new rescue. I know these feelings have been long overdue. Come out, go forward, wear me like your favorite clothes. Say you love me, everybody needs to know. Dress or tea, baby, you're made for me. Take my heart and put it on your sleeve. Bitter, heartless, I've been cold and dead. Cut my heart off from my head, stuck in someone else's bed. Who's this? Told myself I'd never ever fall. I said life's too short to let them have it all right. Yeah. I know these feelings have been long overdue. Come out, go for, wear me like your favorite clothes.
Good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you're listening. How are you all doing? It's Jay Scott. It's the Hook Rocks, the Ultimate Rock Community Podcast. Thanks again for stopping by and tuning in. I always appreciate it. Don't forget to write us a review when you're done listening. As you all know, podcasts rely a lot on reviews, so we do appreciate any time you give us some feedback. And we are part of the Pantheon podcast platform, the official podcast platform of Metallica, which is really cool. So they've got their podcast on our platform, but you can check out that show along with a lot of other music related podcasts. There's something for everyone's taste in music, from metal to folk music to blues, whatever in between. We cover it all on Pantheon Podcast, and you can visit them at pantheonpodcast.com and on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Pantheon Pods. And you can do the same with the Hook Rocks on all three of those platforms, as well as Threads, although still trying to get that app figured out. They need a desktop version because I don't like typing with my thumbs on my phone because I always make mistakes and have to delete and try it over again. So hopefully they get that soon because I'll probably use it a lot more than I do now. But anyway, don't forget to set your app to automatic download so you get the latest episodes right to your phone. We just celebrated our 500th episode with Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick and our 4-year anniversary show earlier this year with Nita Strauss. And we've had some great shows along the way this year. We just did our live album review, which we do every quarter, of the legendary Motorhead album, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. We had Nick Perry talking about his new album, Terra Firma. We also welcomed Julia Lauren from the Foxies as well. That was a great interview. She's, I saw her perform with the Dead Deads earlier this year. She was filling in on bass, but she's got some stuff going on with her band, the Foxies, and can't wait to hear that. And then don't forget to check out some episodes previously this year with Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick. We had George Lynch, legendary guitar player, Richie Kotzen from the Winery Dogs, and many others. So check it all out and look forward to hearing your feedback. We are here again, though, to talk with two great artists, two independent artists that are getting ready to go on a tour together. And we've had a lot of that over the last year or so. As most of you remember, we had Josh and Meta Dead from the Dead Deads and the Black Moods on prior to their tour. We had Jared James Nichols and Tuck Smith on prior to their tour too as well. And it's great to see young up and coming artists really go together and do a tour together and spread the word of their music to fans and that have been wanting to hear their music. And it's very hard these days to get on these major bills with these major artists because the promoters get involved and Live Nation gets involved and they got to sell tickets. So they put another band up there that's kind of like just below them. So those days of the bands picking young artists are few and far between, not like it was years ago. So in order to get the music out, a lot of them are teaming up now and touring and playing one show at a time and growing their audience one person at a time. And it's great. And it's good to see. And we're welcoming in Erin Coburn and Leilani Kilgore to talk about their tour and their music. What's going on? How are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Looking forward to this show for a bit here and looking forward to the tour. I was looking at dates to see which one I can make that's around Chicago. I know there's a couple in Michigan that may work. And I think there's one in Kokomo, Indiana, which I haven't been to Kokomo in years, but Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out a day and time that works, maybe on a weekend, to go out and see the show. So glad to have you both on the podcast and to talk the tour. And I guess the first question is, how did this come together?
Leilani, you want to go first?
You want to do rock, paper, scissors?
Go, you, all you.
Well, so really, long story short, I started working, Jay, as you know from our previous conversations, I've been self-booking and self-managing for a while, up until about, I think, a year and a half ago when I started working with management here in Nashville. And I've been following Erin for quite a while. And eventually, at some point last year, Erin posted a tour schedule. And it was like 3 or 4 weeks that she was out on the road. And I sent a screenshot of it to my manager and I said, I want to do this. How do we do this? And Wes was like, okay, let's do it. So he actually reached out just directly to Erin's booking agency and pitched me as an artist. And they were like, oh yeah, we've heard about Leilani. We'd love to work with her. And then surely enough, within a couple of months, Scott Boyer, who is our mutual agent, said, how would you feel about a tour with Erin? And I was like, absolutely. Yes. So here we are. That is on my side of things, the short story.
Yeah. And the magic's about to happen.
Being a fan of each other, for however long you guys have known of each other's music, that has to be exciting for you to kind of not only do a tour together with each other as people, but also as musicians.
I'm super stoked. Personally, I feel like Erin and I are not only a very good fit musically, but I've just been, a fan of Erin's for a while, and I'm excited to get to see her in action and thrilled to get to share a bill with her.
And likewise, I was so, when Scott, because I think Scott's the one that initially brought up the whole idea, and I was just like, that's freaking genius, because I think our energies match really well, so it's going to be a hell of a show.
Because we met doing a different podcast as a Christmas festival, right? That was kind of our first.
Yeah, the Blues and Southern Rock podcast, which they were on this podcast. I saw that episode too. But I met you and Jax through that podcast, and I was just like, oh my gosh, these people are so cool. It's nice to have friends, because when you're in this industry, you have people that you pass by occasionally and you wave, you're like, hey, you're doing the whole touring thing, and then you don't talk to them for a whole another year. But it's been nice to stay connected with some really talented people like Leilani and Jax as well.
No, likewise.
Yeah. Brian and Jason are both great people on the All Things Blues and Southern Rock, and it's been told to us, because Jason and I have done shows or segments together, that we can't do a segment anymore unless we have a chaperone, because things just get completely out of control.
Those are the best podcasts.
We did this segment at Rockin' Pod, which Leilani was at, and he just came by. We just started talking, and I recorded it and I put it on the episode. And there was a podcast across from me called What's Hot in the Strip Club. And we just took that in the areas where we probably shouldn't have, but it was funny. It was good. But yeah, after that, everyone's like, yeah, you guys should not do any segments alone together ever again.
Funnily enough, the most unhinged podcast I've ever done was with All Things Blues and Rock, literally at Rockin' Pod, about that same exact topic of conversation. Off the rails.
Where can I listen to this? Is this on the podcast? Is it released?
Yeah, you can see it. It was released in March, the week after Rockin' Pod, and it's at the end. So Leilani's on there, Tux Smith's on there, Craig Gass, the comedian who was awesome, talking about Eddie Van Halen, and then I think the last second or the second to last segment is with Jason, and things just got out of hand. So
that's awesome. You need a warning on that one.
Yes, we were like, what's hot in the strip club? I'm like, I'll tell you what's hot. Gonorrhea. And all this stuff, and it just went down this road that we just could not pull up and pull back. It was already on its way, so we just went with it.
Fantastic.
This tour, again, like the two previous I mentioned, speaks to really the landscape of music right now in the music industry. Whereas I mentioned that, years ago, a band could pick their opening act and bring out a new act on tour and help them get exposure. Those days are few and far between. That may happen every once in a while, but it's not as frequent as it was. So artists, especially newer artists, have to team up and join forces and find a way to be efficient on the tour, because costs are up especially with fuel and lodging and food. And obviously to bring a separate, I know I was talking to the Dead, Meta and Josh from the Black Moods and the Deads, and they were using like one drum set with and all they did was change the header of the bass drum out, in between, as they were setting up. But it's an economical way to really bring your music out to people, because like I said, those days are few and far between of a major act bringing a smaller act out. In one aspect, it's very exciting for music fans, and it's very exciting for artists like yourself, because you guys are up and coming artists, and there's a hunger there, and there's the excitement of growing your audience. On the other hand, there's also frustration, because money and greed is involved on one aspect of it, and you guys are just trying to play your music and get it heard. Where are you at, just in terms of your perspective on what's going on with the music industry and touring with newer artists?
As far as like tours go, because I've been touring like for a while, like just by myself, and there's been a few shows where we've done like double headers with people, but it was like the venue that put it together. So this is, I think this is the first tour that I've been like doing like a co-billing tour with. So I'm super excited about this, because like you mentioned, like it's really hard to get on those major tours with the major artists, and a lot of the times you have to pay massive amounts of money in order to get on there. And it doesn't make sense, because you have social media at your fingertips. And, a lot of artists have the outlook of, okay, well, I'm not going to tour until I get big on social media, because then there's my following and they'll come to shows. But there's the old school way of going out to shows, playing shows to get fans, which you don't have to do anymore, but it definitely creates a different connection than just using social media. So, but having another artist that like you respect and really like, are excited to play with, like, Leilani and me, like, we have two different fan bases. There's some people that, there's some people that are fans of both of our music. And then there's some fans that are just fans of Leilani, just fans of me, that are going to be discovering, the other person on this tour, that are going to come out and, be lifetime fans after that of both of us. So, I think that's, a cool thing to look at. And also like with independent artists, I find that the fans of independent artists are really different than like the fans of like major artists, like, or at least there's some differences, but there's definitely a layer of, like a deeper layer of like fan connection going on there. So, we get to grow that on tours like this.
Yeah. This is also my first time doing an actual structured tour with another artist like this, because same situation, I've done, just shows by myself, or would get like local support, things like that. So actually having, like a team that you're traveling with, fellow bands, and you guys are doing the same, the same venues every night, and to have like a system in place, it's fantastic. It is hard as an independent artist, because you don't have the financial backing. And I mean, frankly, we're sharing a drum kit on this tour.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a struggle, but honestly, I think the most exciting thing is, and especially at this level, you still have the opportunity to have a really personal connection with your fans. Like I like to go out, especially in a new market or a new venue, and just have conversations with people, and frankly, thank them for being there, because they could be doing anything else, especially if they don't know you. And Erin and I do have a very similar fan base. We have a lot of crossover. So I've just seen a lot of excitement, on social media platforms regarding the fact that we're both playing together. And I think that's going to be fantastic. I think it's great to have two independent artists, who are out there supporting each other, and also have similar enough fan bases, and have it be just complementary and yeah. I don't know how to finish the sentence, but yes, that.
Absolutely.
Speaking to what you just said, Erin, about, the fan of an independent artist, and being a fan of both, I mean, I grew up on, the big acts, and I've seen them all years ago, and I still love to find new music. And that's really one of the idea of this podcast came from, is to really spotlight new artists and new bands. And I will say, as a fan of independent artists, there's more of a dedication to seeing them when they come into town. Obviously, if you can't, you can't, but, buying their CDs, getting their vinyl, all that stuff, because that this is what an independent artist lives on, right? I mean, this is how they support themselves. Whereas the big acts, the big fish, are going to eat well, whether they tour or not. and they've been in the game for a long time, and it's well deserved, right? I mean, they've gotten to that point where they've created some great music over the years that's connected with people, and that's why they play the stadiums, that's why they play the arenas. But it is satisfying for a fan, when you see two artists like yourselves line up with each other, that it feels like part of a movement, and it feels like you're part of something as a fan, rather than you're just another, butt in a seat at an arena, that really doesn't have any connection with the artist. And I think that is what makes rock and roll in this day of modern music so special, is because, like Leilani says, that she likes to go out and meet her fans, and she likes to connect with them. You never got that before, obviously, in the days of old, but it's nice to have that connection and see an artist grow. Like, I saw a band called Bourbon House last night, which is a band out of Wisconsin that's an independent artist, and they're blues based artists, and they're building their audience too as well, and it's good music. And I always tell people that make the mistake of thinking what's popular is the best. I always use the term like, well, Britney Spears was the most popular artist at one time. It doesn't mean that she's the best artist, she's the best singer, she's all that stuff. It's just who has the most money behind them is usually what makes them more popular. But when you don't have the money behind you, I know I'm rambling here, how do you, when you do these tours together and you keep moving forward, the sense of community has to keep building. And with a lot of artists, I see there seems to be a sense of community, of helping each other out and really knowing each other. And like you said, you're fans of this band, you're fans of that band, and that's great to see, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of like, this band's not good, that band's not good, or a lot of showcasing yourself at the expense of others. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's important I think it's important to artists to, I've heard rumors that back in the day, like, you want to go with a safe opener, right? Like, bands would want to hire someone they knew would not be a threat as far as like winning over their audience. But I think that's something, especially women in the industry, I feel have accepted as, it doesn't have to be a competition. It's really, somebody can be a fan of one person and a fan of the other at the same time. Even if there is a bit of correlation in their music or not. So, personally, I feel like the most important thing you can do for yourself as an artist, and for bands that are going through the exact same thing that you are going through or have gone through, is show honest support. So yeah, it is different in the sense that, like, we still are at the level where we can interact with our fans and interact with each other and build a community, because we have to. Honestly, it's almost like a survival mode thing at this point. Even if the money's not behind you, I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. I think a majority of us out here, especially as independent artists without financial backing, you just have this mindset where you do whatever you have to do to make things work and figure it out. And if it's, like in my case, we've stayed in some pretty rowdy places, and we've driven absurdly long hours of the night to get to the next place if it's a cheaper stay. But you do what you do because you're at a level and the drive where you don't really have guarantees. And if you can work with another band that has the same sense of commitment and drive and work ethic, and take what they're doing seriously, like Erin, it's a wonderful feeling to know that you're working with somebody and touring with somebody who understands the mentality that you have.
Yeah. Building those communities of the people that have like-minded attitudes is, really important in most industries, but especially the independent music industry.
You guys both think that it helps that the majority of artists in your position are kind of dealing with all the same highs and lows as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, speaking of Jack's Hollow, I just we don't see each other much anymore, but we did just meet up for a meal just to catch up after her show at the Ryman with Melissa Etheridge, and we were chatting and just kind of talking about just how different things can be, especially in social media versus what's going on in real life. And I mean, she kind of made this comment like, everybody seems to be doing so well and making all this money. And she's like, you're playing Sturgis, opening for Lita Ford. I said, yeah, but we're also sleeping on the ground in tents for 3 days just to make that gig happen. So there is kind of a false presentation, I feel, for a lot of artists, and they think they see somebody else at their own level or their own community, and they think, God, they're doing so much better than me. How are they pulling this off? But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, we're all, schlepping the same weights. We're all pulling the same ropes. So it's important, I think, that everybody understands that, if you're pursuing a career, especially in the music industry, and you're kind of making your way, especially as an independent artist without a label backing you or something like that, that everyone is going through, like you said, highs and lows. Everyone's going through the same rejections and successes. And it's really a matter of understanding that you don't know what's around the next corner. So just keeping your eye on the prize and not letting yourself feel like you're doing better or worse than anyone else, because we're all playing a packed room one night and potentially an empty room the next.
Yeah. Big time.
It's that social media. I don't know what you call it, that everyone, everyone posts pictures on social media of them doing well, right? No one post pictures of them not doing well. So it creates this facade of everyone's happy. Why am I not happy? Why am I struggling? I'm the only one that has like problems, because it creates this false sense of what's really happening in a person's life. And it kind of carries over into other things, like you mentioned with Jack saying everyone seems to be doing successful, but again, people are all kind of pulling from the same rope and they're all kind of doing the same thing. It's just, you got to kind of take a step back and peel the orange and say, okay, there's more to this. There's a story behind that, of how that happened and how it is happening. And, each step that you guys take in success is, there's one big step, but there's a lot of like weight on each of those steps that help you get there,
Yeah, I will say, like, I've seen like some of my friends who are like social media, like they create like every single day on social media, like they're like just the social media guitarists. Like, I have been seeing more and more posts lately, though, of people peeling back that layer and showing their audience saying, hey, I've had to take a step away from social media for like a week or two, because it's becoming where I'm creating for quantity versus actual quality. And I don't feel like I'm creating art anymore. I just feel like I'm mass producing products. And people are... What was
something about that? I saw you recently post something about that. I saw that I'm kind of just saying the same thing. Like, I feel like I'm not really enjoying playing right now. I'm doing it more for statistics.
It was more like, it was on my story. I think I was just kind of like, cause it was starting to get to me too, like just trying to post like, reels every single day. And like, I posted this one reel, that was like a comedy reel, cause it went really, really well, and it blew up and went viral, and we got a bunch of followers from that. And then I started posting more guitar reels, like continuing doing that. And I lost followers because they were expecting some of that comedy stuff all the time. So it definitely jerks around your emotions, that side of it, but it's every side of the music industry, whether it's social media content or whatever. It can be draining, and being able to, like you said, like mental health awareness is becoming like way bigger now, which is awesome, because that's why people are doing these things where they're like, hey, I'm going to tell my audience like the truth. I'm going to be honest and just say, I have to peel this back and say, I need to take a step back from this. So.
Yeah. I mean, I really respect the fact that you put so much work into your social media. I don't have the patience, I think, or the blind faith in myself to do like the things that you do. I see you post reels of you playing every day, and I think that's so fantastic. I also do feel, though, and as somebody who harps constantly on the side effects of social media, the way that you present yourself is unfortunately the way that you're selling yourself. So especially as an artist, if you want venues to believe in you and other acts to believe that you're worth booking, you can't let on that maybe you had a bad night, or that you're working however many hours to make ends meet. It just has to be this believable story of everything that I'm doing is great. And it's kind of a two-sided coin, because it's a necessary evil, but at the same time, like, I wish people were more aware of the fact that independent artists, it's not every story is a victory. It's ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is the misperception, and you see it online in comments and, they're making enough money and this and that. And the truth is that the majority of artists are not. and this is it's perception of what it used to be. There was the days of the advances. There was the days of, getting a $2 million advance on a record and making a record. Those just don't happen anymore. But the perception still lingers, right? Because people don't understand that. And like you said, with social media, people become a slave to that algorithm, right? Because you can't fall out of that algorithm. Because once you fall out of that algorithm, you got to play catch up. And it's like you're constantly, it's just, I can't imagine what it is to be an artist these days. It used to be you put a song out, the video got big on MTV, radio followed, you got on a tour, and that was the story. And I like the fact, though, that rock and roll is really in a place, I think, where it needs to be, where it's now becoming, especially with the emerging stuff, is very underground. And it creates kind of an element of like an outlaw, where this isn't pop rock, this isn't rap or R&B or whatever it is, hip hop. It's different. You got to go look for it. And it kind of creates a little bit of an excitement element that maybe didn't exist there before. And when you listen to it and you're that kid in school that listens to rock and roll, everyone's wondering like, what's he listening to or what's she listening to? And it does create a sense of, like it used to, danger. And that's really where rock and roll, I think, should be.
Totally. It's kind of cool because like, it's just like with fashion, like there's, when you walk into the store and there's, like bell bottoms or something from like however many years ago, like everything's recycled. There's like a cycle of the eras, I guess you could say. And even with music, like, for a while, like even a few years ago, like rock was pretty dead. Like there were still some great rock artists, but no one really talked about it. It was all rap and pop and stuff like that you heard about all the time. But now it's like the cycle is coming back to where rock is coming more into like the limelight, but it's, like you said, it's more underground, but people are talking about it 'cause it's exciting and it's that emerging kind of thing. I mean, soon it will be, I think, where pop and like rap is, it'll come back around to being a very, really big genre. But right now it is in that kind of beginning underground stage, which is really cool.
I feel like playing guitar is cool again,
Yeah.
Like the longest time, I remember when I was in middle school, and I might be dating myself here, but when I was in middle school and high school, the music that you listen to on the radio that everybody knew had no guitar. I mean, it was all like MIDI tracks and things like that. And it was just very, the Lady Gaga and Black Eyed Peas tracks of the world. Now I feel like, especially when you listen to champion playlists on streaming services that are oftentimes rock centered, it's cool to play guitar again. And that's awesome. Like that's great news for people like Erin and I, who have always kind of stuck with this idea of like, well, that is the definition of cool, and to feel like that's finally coming back around. And I don't know if that's because of social media or if it's because, like Erin said, things are cycling. Like you can hear it in music nowadays, like with bands like Dirty Honey and I mean, Greta Van Fleet and Rival Sons, like that like almost like nostalgic vintage warmth in recordings and things like that using tube compressors is becoming popular again. And I think that's the coolest thing. I personally still subscribe to the old school version of building a career. I think I just missed the mark with social media as far as my generation is concerned. I didn't quite make that transition smoothly. And I still believe in the old school way of building a career just by playing out and building a fan base, at venues. And it's nice to think that that might actually be a feasible way to build a career again. Obviously, CD sales are out, but if you can link playing out, putting on a good show, writing good songs, being a good instrumentalist, link it with, having some semblance of understanding how social media works, it's a really good time for rock bands.
Absolutely.
There's two thoughts on that about the guitar. I do think guitar is cool again. And it's nice to hear a guitar solo in a song again, because for a long time that went away. It's like, where's my guitar solo? Like, where did it go? And I think, like you mentioned, like, a lot of the young artists are bringing that back. And I think that's really cool. I see it with my son, and he plays and he's trying to learn the song and learn the solo. I think that guitar creates a sense of wonder, because when you look at it, it's a limited instrument, but it's up to the player to unlock the limitlessness of that instrument. And, we're approaching the 3-year anniversary of the passing of Eddie Van Halen. And prior to his passing, Van Halen, I remember reading an article, was going to be, or people thought Van Halen was going to be that band that would just disappear over time. Like it'd be a footnote. And then, he passed, and then his Eruption solo started going viral again from,
Yep.
I think it was 1986 or 1987. And young people were like, I've never heard a guitar sound like that. I've never heard someone play like that. And that's because no one had a guitar solo for like a decade in their songs. And here was this man who changed the game in the late 70s, who passed and meant so much to guitar playing, not as much as blues bass, but just playing and phrasing and how to approach the guitar. And here he was after his passing, still having an impact on another generation. And I always believe something bad, something good happens. I think from his passing, the goodness is that people are rediscovering the guitar. And when you have artists, young artists like both of you, and female artists, again, like both of you, and Jax and Grace, Bowers and all these artists, I think, Lizzie Hale is another one, but you have Dorothy Martin, you have all these great female artists that it's also opening up doors for young girls too, as well, to have that music hero that maybe they didn't have in years past.
Yeah. I mean, I think even to, I think I hate playing the women have been at a disadvantage card, but I feel like, there's been a lot of obviously changes in the social tide, so to speak, in the past couple of years. Like Erin said, mental health awareness, which I think is fantastic. But also I feel like, there's definitely been a shift, at least from what I've seen, women being, really championed in the music industry. And, I think it's always been cool to be like a rock centered female, but I feel like now it's really, for lack of a better word, trendy, which is a good thing. I think that, having people like Lizzie Hale who have been doing this for decades, seeing her become like this real force of nature. And then also obviously Nita Strauss, who you spoke to. Just seeing women like that, just being really, I'm not huge on preaching on equality, but it is nice to see just a very open-armed acceptance of women in their roles in rock, and seeing how that's playing out to be like, what, we frankly can do this, and we are as good as men. And I've never really felt like I've been at a huge disadvantage as a woman. I work hard, and I do believe that your work ethic should speak for itself. But it is nice to see people like Nita on the cover of Guitar Player and things like that. It's just very encouraging.
Definitely.
For both of you being female artists, who was the artist that propelled you or became your hero on the female side too? Like, who inspired you to pick up the instrument and start playing, start doing rock and roll? And knowing that as a female, it was possible.
Right.
Oh gosh, there were so many names. Like, growing up, because I listened to a lot of like blues artists, but they were like the really old blues artists. So there was like Coco Taylor, but there's a lot of older names and stuff that I just watched videos. I didn't really know their names, but I remember seeing these women play guitar in like these like bars, and it was like just awesome. But there's so many like modern women out there now that are inspiring, like Yvette Young, and you have so many different people that are really cool to look up to.
Yeah, honestly, I all of my role models were males.
Yeah. I was like searching. I'm like, there's a couple I know.
like Erin, like yourself, we both have blues backgrounds. I think honestly, if there was an influence for me that was a female, it was usually vocally more than playing, just because, obviously Bonnie Raitt, phenomenal player and phenomenal writer and vocalist. But yeah, for the most part, all of my influences were actually from males up until recently, when you discover people such as Lizzie Hale, Nita Strauss, etc.
Yeah, I think it's because when we were growing up, like, it wasn't widely talked about of like, oh, there's this woman like shredding guitar over here. It was always men were in like the light, and that's what you saw. So it was just like, I'm gonna do that too. And then now it's like all the women that said I'm gonna do that too are big and in the light now, which is awesome. But yeah,
yeah, exactly. It wasn't really prevalent.
Yeah.
Who helped foster that encouragement for you, though? Like you said, it always shined a light on male guitar players, and here you are as young girls learning how to play guitar. There had to be something that said, I can do that. I don't care if I'm a girl or not. Where did that come from?
I don't think it really factored in for me, thinking about the fact that it was male guitar players that I was watching. I think to me, it looked effortlessly neat. Keith Richards and Jack White and, just so many people that I just thought were like the epitome of cool. I was like, man, if that's what it takes, then, you know, the fact that I was looking at all males didn't really play into anything except for maybe the fact that I do dress more masculine than other women. But like, I've never really considered it to be much of a difference. It's just more of a thing of like, I like their playing, and that's what I want to learn how to do. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, Erin, did you ever think about maybe the fact that being a female, learning a bunch of male guitar players' styles was odd?
No, because I think I didn't really see men. I saw the guitar, you know, like, or like when, like, because I watched Joe Satriani play a lot. Like, my parents always had DVDs of Joe Satriani on the TV, and I was just like mesmerized by this man's like guitar playing and his mouth, because he was like, it was matching up, and I was just like, is he making it? Like, when as a young kid, I'm like, is there a connection here? Like, what's happened? It was just a strange kind of out of this world looking thing going on. So, but no, I mean, I didn't pay attention to what was between their legs. I was watching the guitar.
That's a very great perspective, is watching the guitar. It doesn't matter who's playing it, you know. I mean, because I think at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Whether you're female, whether you're male, it's about the guitar, and you know, the guitar knows no difference between a male and a female and who plays it. And you know, I think also the thing that's amazing about a female guitar player, because I usually don't like to call someone a female band or a female artist. To me, they're just bands or they're artists. But I also like when a female guitar player is playing, because there is always different perspectives and there is a different way of playing. I think that adds a new element of unlocking that journey of the guitar that maybe it wasn't unlocked before. I mean, there has to be, in order for, you know, to guitar to keep carrying on, artists that keep unlocking things. And I think adding more female guitar players to that, more things are going to be unlocked and more things are going to be able to be influenced by those players too as well.
Yeah, I think like adding just different people in general, like having people from all different kinds of backgrounds, genders, like race, anything, bringing their perspective and their life experiences into the instrument, like that's what creates art and like new pieces of art for people to, because like art is all about like, you know, putting out yourself, like the darkest parts of yourself for other people to understand, or, you know, like try to understand at least. So yeah, having different people and like women or any gender is important.
Yeah, I mean, if you spend enough time with anything, especially something that's creatively based, I mean, I know people that spend their whole lives trying to sound like one player or one genre. And I think inevitably, if you learn something well enough, you're going to have your own aspects of your personality creep into it, regardless of what it is. And I think that's one of the benefits of having guitar being so popular right now is, you know, one style will seem to reach kind of a peak, and then you start to see somebody kind of spin off with it and take it in a new direction. So it's this constantly evolving thing. Like right now, the biggest thing, like Erin, I think your style of playing is hugely popular right now. And it's cool to get to see so many different interpretations based on whoever's playing the guitar.
Yeah, definitely.
That sets up the next question, which is, how do you approach your guitar playing? Like how do you, when you pick it up out of the case or off the stand and you start playing, like what is your approach to it? Like where do you go once you do that?
You wanna go first?
Go for it.
All right. Well, it's evolved over time. When I was younger and first playing, I would approach the guitar and be like, you know what? I don't know if I can say bad words in here, so I'm just gonna say, you know what? F what my teacher told me to do.
You can say bad words. You can say.
Right. You know what? Fuck what my teacher told me to do. I'm just gonna do what I want to do and play my own thing. Even though I had no idea how to play, I was the worst student. All I wanted to do was write my own little things, figure it out myself. They would, you know, write the little tablature things and say, all right, learn this and come back. Never. I would never do that. But, I was approaching it younger with like a much more open mind, but in a stubborn way. But now, I approach it with things that I've learned, like, before I pick up the guitar, I try to take a deep breath, because I know that if I don't like focus on my breathing, I'm gonna either like rush the parts, or I'm gonna play something that's like jumbled. You know, it's just not like what I want to come out. But if I take a deep breath, and it feels like I'm a little more connected to what I'm trying to say. So that's what I try to do before I approach the guitar. now.
This summer, Prime Video takes you back before Legally Blonde, before law school, and into the world of Elle Woods in high school. Set in 1995, this Gemini vegetarian knows exactly who she is until her family moves from Bel Air to Seattle. Packed with iconic fashion, 90s nostalgia, and a throwback soundtrack, Elle proves one thing. Law school was hard. High school was harder. From the world of Legally Blonde, watch Elle, a new original series only on Prime Video. Watch now.
Actually, I was super similar when I was first learning. My parents, because I wanted to do rock. I wanted to play like Hendrix and Green Day and the Stones and like, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And my parents were like, no, you're going to start with the classical guitar. And it was like the footstool and they tilted it up. And my teacher would like tape a pencil across my knuckles, which is the exact opposite technique. Like you could not be more polar opposite from rock playing technique. And so I was not a great student either. I mean, I would enjoy like, you know, learning a piece properly and playing it right. But it was never what I wanted to do. I remember my dad used to like throw his shoes at me because I would fall asleep practicing classical technique because it just was so boring to me. And it was the same thing. Like I would want to learn to figure out how to play things that I wanted to play. And then eventually when I was 12 or 13 and got like a proper like electric guitar and I moved and we had a new teacher and he just said like, hey, this is BB King, learn this solo, figure out where it is on the fretboard. And I was like, that's it. That makes sense to me. Like that's something that I feel. So when I pick up the guitar now, I don't, and I think Jay, I think we've talked about this before, but I don't have a great practice routine, partially because my full-time job is playing. So if I spend like 8 hours on stage because I'm working 2 Broadway shifts, I don't want to come home and play more. I just don't. But I still do, you know, try to in my own playing when I'm on stage. If I'm doing something that I'm used to, I try to find new ways to express the things that I'm hearing in my head. So when I approach guitar now, it's more of making sure that it's a conduit for expressing whatever the song is about or whatever I'm feeling. Make sure that it's going to fit what's going on rather than just this like blanket statement playing style. So it's right now I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out new ways to express things, but still stay on a friendly path with my instrument.
Here's what might seem like an odd question, but for those that don't play guitar, when we have a particular emotion that we're dealing with, you know, we have the thoughts in our head of excitement, anger, annoyance, whatever it is. Being that you play guitar, when you have a range of emotions, do you hear a tone in your head that details or signals a certain type of emotion?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think it's pretty traditional, like as far as what I hear, like, you know, although I don't know. I mean, like the song that I'm going to be releasing next month is a major key song. So it's very happy. It's very soft. And the solo is still this like disgustingly overdriven tone that was completely unnecessary, but that's what I heard in my head. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think more than anything, for me, whatever I'm feeling gets translated more in aggression, maybe than you know, doing something too drastic to my tone. I don't know, Erin. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
When you have that ability to do that, right, and hear a tone when you have any type of emotion, right? How do you capture it? Is it just then when you get your guitar, you start playing it and it kind of leads to something else? I mean, do you kind of just keep hearing it in your head? Do you need to play it to get it out of your system? How does that work for both of you?
I think for me, like when I have something in my head, like I'll start with like trying to dial it in as like in real life as much as possible. And then it normally evolves from there though. I'll be like, especially nowadays with all of like the technology at the fingertips, like all these amps you can have in your computer, the amp stems and stuff. I'll just be flipping through. I'm like, oh no, I like that better. So I'm going to do this riff instead. And then it's like what you originally thought you were going to do is nothing like what it was. But like, it's like a reflex. Like I'm really impulsive as like a person with everything. So with guitar playing, it's the same exact thing. It's like, I want to do this now over here. So yeah. Yeah,
no, I think that it's because I have the same thing. Like if if I hear something in my head and I'm like, oh, I need to at least get that down. Like same thing. I will plug into whatever DAW I'm using, usually Logic, and I'll think that I find what I'm looking for. And then same thing, I'll be like, nope, that's not what I was looking for, but that actually sounds better. And then inevitably, I think that, that also kind of shapes whatever the riff or song turns into. Is just by process of discovery. But yeah, I mean, if I hear something in my head, I'll do like really, really shitty voice notes at 3:00 in the morning or something like that. Just instead of like a bass line, and then never listen to it again.
Yes.
I've often wondered too, the voice notes on a guitar player's cell phone must be like, any guitar player must just completely be off the rails.
That in the videos too, where it's just like your phone is just sitting on like it's like the worst angle. It's like half your butt, or like it's like half your head. It's not even the guitar. It's just so you can like quickly like. I don't even use voice notes anymore. Sometimes I'll just do like videos, and it's just the phone facing the ceiling. I'm like, I could have done a voice note, but I'm taking a 4K video of the ceiling with this guitar thing.
There's your TikTok content right there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Make an account, poorly shot guitar videos. My most unhinged voice notes are actually for like songwriting purposes. It'll be like completely discernible nonsense, off like bizarre melodies that don't make no sense. Like it's a deep dark hole that I'm frequently terrified to visit, and usually don't. Whatever's there will probably stay in there until the day that I die.
I have a question. Are you a voice note hoarder as well? Like where you have 10,000 voice notes, and you could delete probably all of them, but you keep them?
But what if it's something slightly different about tape?
Exactly. Let's go.
I'm telling you, you have a built-in social media content right here of just random voice notes on guitar riffs.
Oh God, I don't know if anybody needs to see that.
I don't know, but you know how many guitar players out there that have social media that can totally relate to all that? I'm telling you, it'd be big.
A fun series.
It'd be huge, totally big. So, as far as touring goes, do you guys obviously you have to like to be on the road, but how many dates are you guys comfortable with doing every year? I mean, there's some bands that will do 200, like Blackberry Smoke is like always out on the road.
Yes.
And then there's other bands that maybe just do a 2-month stint every year. Like, where do you guys fall in how much you play?
I think, for the past, like, besides like the pandemic years, I've had maybe like, I'm like usually playing every week, but I've had like a total of like 3 weeks like off, but not like at a time. It's just, but that's from the whole year. So we're playing a lot, and which is why it's been hard to write and record in my studio, because I'd like to do like 6 months of just straight touring, like shows every single night, maybe a couple days off within that 6 months, but just like really go balls to the wall. And then 6 months of writing, and like having that time to be a person, and then come back to touring on that experience. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know how many show dates we've done at this point, but I know that it's been a lot. It was a lot of going out on the weekends, coming back, or doing, maybe a week out. This tour is actually going to be the longest that we've been out on the road, and I'm unbelievably excited to finally do it, because I've been dying to do like actually extensive proper run. For me, ideally, I mean, I'd like to be out as much as I possibly can. And then like Erin, I have a tough time writing and recording, because a lot of my budget goes into road expenses and making sure my band is getting paid what they need to get paid, and fixing the van, and like, all that stuff. But it would be nice to be out for, I could probably comfortably do maybe 3 to 4 months at a time. As long as, I'm not killing my vocal cords, come back for a month and a half, knock out an EP or a record, and then just go back out. I love being on the road. I do, my partner is also in the music industry, so he's very understanding of our schedule. And I get super restless when I'm home, and I get like cagey, like I get weird and I get antsy, and I start to rearrange furniture. So I think that I'm not good at just sitting in one place at all. So the more we can be out, the better. And I also love seeing new places. I love getting to play for new people every night. I love being out playing. So as much as I could possibly do while still making sure that we're proving that we're writing music would be ideal.
Do you guys like to create on the road?
Oh yeah.
I
bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we bring. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because there's some artists that just do not want to create on a van or a bus or anything like that.
It's definitely different. Like when I first started doing it, I'm like, I feel car sick. But after that, I'm like, okay, I'll just, I'll adapt. So I'll get like a little desk for the van, I can put my laptop on. But yeah, we bring our, just like a little Focusrite interface, and, we'll go into Logic, and I'll do I do like these riffs on Instagram. So I'll do like riffs in the van sometimes, or like live stream in the van. But like that's creating to me is like still content side of things. But then also like writing, like we'll get home from like a show. If it's an early show, then we're like, all right, let's go to the hotel room. Let's write. And, we're up till, 1 or 2 writing something. So, and until someone tells us to turn it down. So, but I think it's fun. It's definitely a different energy writing on the road than writing at home, but both are equally as fun.
Yeah. To be honest with you, for the most part, we don't actively plan. We've tried, if we have like a song, we're like, oh, we should definitely work this up and get it on the set list. We'll spend time doing that. But, I don't know why, but I think as a group, we're all typically just exhausted all of the time. So usually if we make it to wherever it is we're going and we finish the show, then we will go to sleep. And I personally, for my voice, just because I'm literally, if I'm not home, if I'm not on the road, I'm singing all the time. So I try to rest my voice as much as I can. But we have really, honestly, great creative moments when we're doing sound checks. If we have time and, like if I come up with a riff or my other guitar player comes up with a riff, we will flesh out like we'll just jam on a song. We'll hit the voice notes button and we'll be like, this is cool. And the best part about that is also, you're not working by yourself, because Erin, I'm sure you understand this. Like, I find that I have the easiest time writing if I can actually hear things happening in real time. Like you can come up with a riff, a song, a melody, and a lot of my songs I have written by myself, but I find it much more, I find there's more flow to it if you just organically come up with something with everybody participating at the same time, because then everyone is creating their own or contributing their own vibe, so to speak. So I love what we come up with on the road. It's usually not planned, but I feel like, especially with this tour, coming up, when we do have these off days set in, we're definitely going to be actively working on creating things, because we know what's coming up and we have the time, and we're not going to be doing 3 hours a night and having to worry about driving another 6 the next day and killing ourselves. So I'm looking forward to having that opportunity as well.
That's another plus of touring with having a co-headline show, is you don't play the 3 hours, you get to split. That's so nice.
I'm so excited.
Yes, me too.
Well, when you're on the road, right, and you're in that mode of playing live, right, there's a certain mentality that you have to have. And, every day is a grind because you're going from city to city, you're driving, but also you're playing. Does that help open up areas of creativity that maybe at home would be harder to get out of?
I think so. Yeah.
You're in new environments. I think there's something we said, like, while you're on stage, I think you get a lot of inspiration in the moment. You're also, you're being stimulated. You're on new people, you're on new stages, you're in a new place, you're seeing new things, or, at least something different other than the same 4 walls that you've been staring at. I think that it's at least personally, I think it's highly conducive to inspiring new avenues of creativity that maybe you wouldn't get just sitting in the same familiar environment.
Yeah. For me, it's like, some of the times we'll load in like super early, and then we have like 4 or 5 hours to kill before the show starts at the venue. So I'll bring my little practice amp and my laptop, and I'll pull up like the guitar course I'm taking or something to like stay up on like, different guitar things. And I'll just do that. But it puts me in like a different space of like, I'm going to learn this. So then like later, if I'm inspired, I can use what I learned earlier in the day. But like if I was home, like obviously I'm still doing the guitar course, but like I wouldn't be spending 4 to 5 hours on it. It's like, I'll set aside an hour for this, and then I'll go do this over here. Like, but on the road, you can do things in not moderation. It's not the healthiest way. I mean, road life in general is not healthy, but, like, that's why you do it sporadically. You come home, for a couple days and then go back out to, recharge. But yeah.
You're way more disciplined than we are. Unfortunately, my band and I have a really bad habit of anytime, especially if we're in a new place, we're like, let's go find the best taco / bar, like whatever the local cuisine is. That's where we go before the show. because we have no discipline and love food. So.
Oh no, we do that. We do that too. If the venue lets it. If the venue's covering food, then we'll eat there. But if they're not, then we normally go to like pho. If we can find Vietnamese restaurants.
Yeah, us too. I got a place in Chicago that I can recommend to you that has amazing pho. It's right by CME. So what
Please
better way could you ask
send
for?
it over. Send it over.
I'm bringing my gym clothes out with me for this tour. I'm booking hotels with fitness centers. Like I like a good routine on the road. You know, I feel like it's possible. I feel like you have to get used to it though. You have to know what to expect, understand what your schedule is going to look like, and then especially not, like you said, not having to play 3 hours straight. You have a little more to actually get into a bit of a routine.
Yeah, the thing that messes me up, like I'm always like, all right, I'm gonna like go to bed at like 10 and then wake up at like 6 the next day and go to the gym and then do this, have my tea and like lay it out. But then the one thing that throws a wrench in it is like the one show on the tour that's till like 2 a.m. or something, like 1 a.m. And then like the rest of the days, I gotta catch up on sleep from that one show. And the schedule goes out the window. That bothers me so much. But like, it's just that thing, cause like, I love lists and like schedules. And if I don't like follow it from like the list that I wrote the night before, then it feels like everything's messed up.
I love the weird mentality of like one show that goes later than the other shows. And it's like this do or die situation where you're like, if I don't get at least 9 hours of sleep, I will not survive. I don't know what that is. I don't know why we think that way, because we'd probably all be fine. But I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, I stayed up 3 hours later than I usually do. If I do not get sleep through the entire rest of the next day, I will perish. I don't know, because it's definitely not true. But
Well, no, I feel the same way.
What's the restaurant in Chicago that you're going to recommend?
Oh, yeah. It's because so there's this pho place and it's by CME. And I don't remember what it's called. If I looked at a map, I could probably find it. But all I know is if you go to CME and you're walking, if you come out of the store and you take a left, a couple doors down, there's a little yellow door. And it's a Vietnamese place. And they have the best pho I've ever had in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Like 2 or 3 doors down on the same block. And it's a little yellow door.
I think I know the door. Because I did CME, that's on Lincoln, I think.
Yeah.
And it's in Lincoln Park. So I think I know the door, the yellow door. Yeah.
The yellow door. It sounds so ominous.
You know, in Chicago, what you got to realize is we think everything is 10 minutes away. So, you know, like I remember I was going down to Nashville. I mean, it's obviously not, and like, when are you leaving? I'm like, oh, such and such. Well, don't you have to be here by this? I'm like, yeah, it only takes like 3 hours to drive to Nashville. I'm like, you're like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, yeah, it does. And I'm driving. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't take 3 hours to get to Nashville. But that's how we are in Chicago. We think everything is like 10, 15 minutes away. As far as, well, I did not as far as, but I did talk to an artist one time in a band that said the best thing to do is to stay in parking lots where there's a Planet Fitness, because Planet Fitness is like 24 hours. And they have showers that are there like 24 hours, and you can sleep in your van and go take a shower at the Planet Fitness.
I feel like I know exactly what band told you that too. that is a common pro tip amongst independent touring artists. Okay. I've never exercised that. Have you ever done that, Erin?
No, our van only has windows in like the very front, so I feel like we would probably there wouldn't be very good ventilation in there.
Yeah. I'm a 50-year-old drummer. He needs a bed. Like I can't make him sleep in a van in a parking lot. His wife would kill me. We try to at least get everybody on something with a mattress.
Yeah. If you sleep well, you play well.
Yeah. Plus, I personally don't want to be stuck in a confined environment with 3 dudes. I'm not interested in whatever aromatic situation that would be.
Yes.
I've often thought about that too. Like you're driving in a van and I'm like, man, like we've all slept in a car at some point in our lives, but maybe because as I've gotten older, it's become less attractive to me sleeping in a car. And I just wonder, like, you know, that's why whenever I go to a venue, I'm like, do you guys have showers at this venue? Cause I just can't imagine like the sweat and the stench from performing and getting in a van in a closed environment with very poor ventilation and like driving for like 6-7 hours. That's got to be.
My band had an intervention with me because I'm just going to be fully honest here. For the longest time, I would never wear deodorant. And because like I'm a health nut, and I read articles of like, oh, like a lot of deodorants have like things in them that, you know, like this is like your armpits are like a natural, like I guess like a one-way ticket to like your hormones and stuff like that, and like deodorant can mess with that. So I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. So I'm like, I just won't wear it. And which was great because like there are some fans that want to get really, really close to you, and I love them dearly, but having that like no deodorant thing definitely kept a little barrier around. But I wear deodorant now, but my band had to have an intervention because we would get in the van after shows and they would be like, Erin, you gotta do something about this, man. And like I'm in a band with all guys, so like, like not to do stereotypes, but people wouldn't think it's the woman, but it was me.
Honestly, some of the worst, not worst smelling, that's rude, but some of the strongest smelling people I've been around are people that are in successful bands.
Yes.
Have all of the opportunity and accommodations at their disposal, and for some reason just don't. I mean, I try to exercise good hygiene. I'm the same way about it. I'm very like, oh, I can't have any parabens or aluminum in my deodorant. So
yes.
I don't know if it works as well, but it is what it is. I have some jackets from some shows that I've not cleaned yet that could be used as biohazards.
Yep. I feel the same way.
Well, if anything comes out of this interview, Erin, I think you've secured yourself a sponsor for deodorant for the tour.
Maybe. I found this nice deodorant in Canada because everything's better in Canada. I just love Canada. But it's organic and it works great. So the band's happy. Everyone's happy. The fans are happier. Yeah. Yes.
When I was in Mexico years ago, I found this soap that was incredible. And I bought like 50 bars in Mexico. And they must have thought at customs that I was smuggling drugs within the soap bars, because who the hell walks through customs with like 50, 60 bars of soap, And I ran out eventually. So I started ordering online from like these Hispanic distribution centers, and they would deliver like a box full of like soap. And I used the same soap for like literally 20 years. I never ventured off of anything else besides this soap. That's kind of how much of a lunatic I am. And then one day, this was recently, like 5 years ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure the soap's around here. This is fine. Do I have to keep ordering from this distribution company to get my soap? So, because I remember they called me. They're like, are you a store? I'm like, no, I'm just a private residence. I'm like, oh, we've never had a call like this before.
That's intense.
So what it is, okay, so there's Camay soap, right? And you could buy Camay at U.S. grocery stores or wherever, but the soap in Latin America is without all the chemicals and everything. And I remember, because I was at I forget what they call it, I was outside of Acapulco, and I bought a couple bars. And I'm like, wow, this soap is really good, blah, blah, blah. And I started handing out, like, for gifts for like Christmas and stuff to like my family. Like, you just gave me soap for Christmas. I'm like, trust me. And no one loved the soap as much as I did. But again, that's the kind of lunatic I am. But I would order, like, I was obsessed about it. And then I found a couple dollar stores that were kind of like privately owned dollar stores that would sell it because they would get the stuff in from Mexico. So like I had an obsession about soap for like a good 20-year obsession. So I totally understand where you're going with the whole health thing and
amazing.
That is, oh my gosh.
I have never talked about that on my podcast. So now I just expose myself of like OCD,
Oh, we're all getting real deep here. We're all saying things we've never said before.
Not only are we a music podcast, but we talk about personal hygiene and products we use from around the world that we obsess about.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm right with you. Yeah, I remember like the customs agent like looking at me and looking at my bag and looking at me and looking at my bag. I'm like, dude, it's just soap.
It's just soap. Which might actually be more concerning than if you actually had drugs. You know what I mean? Like that might be more problematic.
Well, they probably didn't question me or search me because they probably just didn't just get this freak out of here.
Well,
so.
What was that one movie where they were making soap out of like human fat?
That was Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah. Maybe they were thinking like some kind of connection with that. I don't know.
Like I just mass murdered a whole bunch of people in Mexico.
Yeah.
To get the soap.
Ew. I just saw that movie and I was like after it, I'm like, what the hell just happened?
I blocked that from my memory because I have no recollection of that happening in Fight Club. I must have buried it.
That's probably the only memory I have of that movie, and that because it was just like, this is disturbing.
Like they're going through a dumpster, right?
Yeah, they go to this facility that kills people, or like people
God,
go to die.
Right.
Yeah, and then the bag explodes on him a little bit when they're trying to steal it. Ooh.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go watch that movie today. So back to being on the road after our soap and deodorant discussion. As you guys look at, your careers and still, I mean, obviously, Leilani, you just played Sturgis. What do you try to get out of each tour? Like, what is something? Is it just something about playing music and growing audiences, or something more from it that comes to you guys?
I mean, honestly, I think Erin's probably been touring longer than I have. I've only technically been touring since, with my own music under my own name since 2021. So I'm actually new to this. So honestly, what we're doing right now, and it's, after doing it for 2.5 years, I think we've got a pretty good handle on it. But for a while, it was just figuring out, okay, does the set list order that I've written works? Like, does it translate on stage? Do the songs that we've selected to play, do they make sense? Do they connect with an audience? How do we go from just playing a set to playing a show? Developing a routine for load-in, figuring out just, as Erin knows, you have to have a system when it comes to load-in, merch, things like that. Ultimately, at this point, what we're doing is we're studying, what have we done so far that's worked, right? Like, what about the set list makes sense? What's communicating well? Where can we create moments of dynamics and connection with the audience throughout the show? And what can we do to improve? And also, really ultimately, especially as an artist for me, I'm learning what style of music I enjoy playing live the most and what makes the most sense for who I'm playing for. So it's the past 2.5 years just been almost like a study. And when we play shows now, what we try to do is just try to make every show better than the last. And something that, we played a show in where were we? West Virginia, or one of the Virginias. And it was just kind of just not a great day for it. The venue wasn't what we were kind of expecting. The weather was shit. The audience wasn't terribly involved. And it was one of those 4-hour gigs. And we took our break. And we all just seemed a little bit defeated, and we're all hanging by the van, smoking cigarettes. And I was like, look, honestly, this is obviously not our best gig. This is not what thought we were getting ourselves into. What we need to do right now is make the most of the situation. And if they're not going to have fun, at least we can have fun, and we can treat it like a real proper practice and really use this opportunity to work on making sure that we're delivering and try to still win. We still had fans in the audience that were paying attention. We did well with merch, surprisingly. But it was kind of like a situation of we still have people paying attention, and we need to at least make sure that we're putting on a good show for them and for ourselves. I've learned that my worst fear is coming away from a show feeling like the idea that somebody might walk away from one of my gigs going, yeah, it was okay, or yeah, it was good. I can't stand that. It needs to be great. So we're using every show as an opportunity to make sure that we are delivering a standard and that we are studying the audience response and figuring out what we can do to take things to the next stage, make it literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, when we coming away from tours and stuff, I'm always trying to take away the energy, kind of similar to what Leilani was talking about, how did the audiences respond and things like that. Usually I'm just looking for inspiration, not that I'm looking for it, but I'm hoping to come away with some new inspiration, because nothing's better than having fans in different parts or places that you've never played in before coming out to shows and being you just made my day, or my week was really rough and this just made it so much better. That's what I look for in tours, is those little moments of oh, I can take this back home and just feel good about this and write something from this experience. So that's usually what I'm looking for coming out of tours.
The Fire and Frets tour begins towards the end of this month. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be hitting places like Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, all over the Midwest, Eastern Seaboard area, and down into the South too as well. So go check out Erin Coburn and Leilani Kilgore on tour. I promise you will not regret it. You will absolutely enjoy it. Leilani, Erin, thanks again for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
You can check our armpits and see if we're lying about our deodorant application.
Well, you got to get the meet and greet package in order to do that.
This tour is going to smell really good. Don't worry.
That's sponsored by Sure.
Fire Frets and Floral tour. Yeah,
there we go.
There you go. Well, thank you both again. I appreciate it.
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Everyone, that is Erin Coburn and Leilani Kilgore. Again, check them out on the Fire and Frets tour. Go to their social media and their web pages. All the tour information is on there, and it'll be in the show notes as well, in case you want to link up and find out where they're playing. And if they're playing close to you, go see them. Once again, I'm Jay Scott, and this is The Hook Rocks, the Ultimate Rock Media Podcast. Thanks again for listening. We'll talk soon. Take care of each other and stay safe. Take care. Thank you.
Same story as before, different roles in a different place. Rain or shine, train keeps rolling. I dream about you in the strangest ways. Well, I gotta go home, yeah. I can't take it